for joining in. I'm Sandy Baird, and I'm here to answer a few common questions that dentists have when they're considering working with a consultant. The first one, I think, is that many dentists wonder, hey, Sandy, what gives you the right to come in here and advise me on how I should run my practice? There are two reasons: experience, education, maybe three: insight. My husband's a general dentist. We opened his practice in 1981, and I was his first employee, and I was his last employee when we sold it in 2010. The entire time I worked in the office, I played numerous roles, whether an assistant to a hygienist, whether the bookkeeper, whether the IT person, receptionist, scheduler, toilet bowl cleaner, gardener. Whatever needed to be done is the role I played. So I can see the dental practice and be empathetic with just about every role in the dental office. I've worked front desk, I've worked back clinical, so I also know that the interesting dynamics that goes on between that. I have also the mindset of an owner, since this was our practice. So I lived with the owner, I slept with the owner, I heard what the owner's concerns were. I intimately know that perspective of the practice. I also have an MBA. I got this MBA in about 2005, so it's a 21st century MBA. And I had already worked in the dental field for over 35 years when I did it. Everything that I did in my MBA program was related to dentistry. So I have a lot of academic and educational and substance that backs up a lot of the information that I give. Not just with, how to run a business in the dental industry, but industries all over the world. I have that perspective. And the insights I have from coaching for now since 2005, coaching full-time since 2010, I have gotten a lot of insights in how practices work and how to help them, what's effective and what's not effective. So that's why I feel like I do have some right to help you run your practice. Another question is, Danny, you claim to be a coach and a consultant. What's the difference anyways? In my mind, a consultant is somebody who gathers up information, lots of evidence, financial, operational, work culture, leadership, all that information, studies it, compares it to the industry standards and measurements, and makes recommendations. That to me is a consultant. They give the recommendations to the dentist, and the dentist says, thanks for your advice. That's a consultant in my mind. A coach, on the other hand, is somebody who implements the recommendations. In other words, I come into your practice, I work with your team, I meet with you and your team, and we make the recommendations happen. And we measure how well they're doing, we watch their progress, we set up all kinds of ways to evaluate the effectiveness of the changes we've made. Another common question is, of course, what does it cost to work with you? Very common question. My goal is to design my program to meet your budget. There are two aspects. In a typical consulting project, coaching project, there are two steps. The first step is a practice evaluation. I feel like anybody who gives you advice without knowing your practice inside out is more than likely not going to give you the right recommendation. So I do not feel confident giving you recommendations and ideas without knowing your practice. Every practice is different. So coming in, and in my next video, you'll see on the website, I'm going to talk about that comprehensive evaluation, how it works and why it's so important. And it's also a short-term time to work together so we can tell if we're a good team, if we can make things happen. Then the next step, if after the recommendations are made, at that point the dentist and the owner gets to say, okay, Sandy, thank you, I appreciate your advice, I'm going to take your recommendations and make them happen. The other option the dentist has said, you know, Sandy, I want you to come in here and let's make this happen. That's the coaching part of it. So the two together are a powerful combination, because you make money when you're doing dentistry, when you're training your team, and when you're trying to implement change. You will have to spend a lot of time outside of the mouth to do this, and you're not going to get paid for that, except of course in the long run, in the long term, if you're lucky. But so I try to design my program to meet your budget. Another question is, let's see, do you work by contracts? Or if I change my mind, you know, a few sessions in, am I penalized for that? Do I have to pay out the contract? I do not work with contract. I work with agreements. And if you change your mind at any time, then you just pay me what's due up to that point, what's been completed and what services you've rendered, and give me 30 days, and then you can choose to leave. I don't want to waste your money or your time if you don't think it's the partnership is working. So those are just a few of the common questions, and I encourage you to look at the next video, which is the comprehensive evaluation of your practice, because it'll have a lot of details in it too. And oh, by the way, if you want to just chat about your challenges and what's going on with your practice, there's no charge for that. You can set up an appointment on my website, or you can just give me a buzz. I would love to sit down and just, you know, hear what your challenges are, what you want to do, where you want to go, and you know, of course, I'll be limited in what advice I can get because I don't know your practice, but I certainly can let you know if I could be of help. So stay tuned, come back, check out another video, and make an appointment to talk to me. I'd love to. Bye.